Silvija Sablinova, Earth-616. Silver Sable is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. She is usually depicted as a mercenary, hunter of war criminals, leader of the Wild Pack, and owner of Silver Sable International. While not a criminal, her work as a mercenary has sometimes brought her into conflict with several superheroes. Silver Sable is primarily an ally and sometimes enemy of Spider-Man. The character has appeared in several media adaptations over the years, including animated series and video games. History. Early life. Silver's father was a Nazi hunter, considered to be the best in Europe, even working alongside James Howlett, simply known as the Canadian at the time. His wife was murdered when the home he shared with his wife and daughter was bombed. Silver begged her father to train her so she could avenge her mother's murder, and though he tried his best to discourage her, he soon realized her potential, and she soon began joining him on hunts. After his death, she assumed command of the Wild Pack and became founder and owner of Silver Sable International. Spider-Man. She met Spider-Man while trailing the Black Fox. Working with the New York City police, the Wild Pack nearly apprehended him only to be thwarted by the inadvertent actions of Spider-Man. Eventually Spider-Man recovered the stolen jewels but allowed the thief to escape. The two have since worked together on a few occasions. She has also worked with Paladin, Puma, Solo, Hawkeye, and the Sandman. Sable was at one point married to the criminal foreigner. She turned against him after learning that he was responsible for the death of her uncle Fritz. Silver Sable International was later hired by a small southern African country to neutralize the international terrorist Jason Massendale, who at the time was operating under the guise of the Jack-O-Lantern, and was suspected of training rebel forces within the country's borders. An initial team of Wild Pack members was ambushed by Massendale's men and nearly killed, leading Silver Sable to enlist aid from Spider-Man. During the course of these events, Sable witnessed a daylight robbery that resulted in the death of a young woman, an innocent bystander, accompanied by her young son. The woman's death struck a responsive chord in Sable, and she dropped her other activities to hunt down the killer. His trail led to an abandoned building, where Jack-O-Lantern chose to attack Sable and her men. During the final confrontation, her choice to capture the killer enabled Jack-O-Lantern to escape. Spider-Man then agreed to help Silver capture Jack-O-Lantern. They tracked him to Coney Island Amusement Park, only to be ambushed by the group of costumed criminals called the Sinister Syndicate, composed of the Beetle, the Rhino, Hydro Man, Boomerang, and the Speed Demon, who were hired to kill Massendale's pursuers. The villains nearly succeeded, but were stopped at the last minute by the Sandman, who allowed Sable and Spider-Man to escape. After a long battle, the three managed to defeat the criminals, but no evidence was found to help them locate Jack-O-Lantern. Other heroes and reformed minor villains occasionally worked for Silver Sable International on occasion. However, after a series of failures, and with her Wild Pack increasingly disappointing and compromised, Sable disbanded the organization and was planning on going into retirement until she got a lead on the traitors within the pack. She quickly teamed up with Dominic Fortune, and together they stopped the sleeper assassin scheme that the former Wild Pack soldiers were involved in. Shadowland. After the Simkarian Revolution, Sable personally bought the then-abandoned Simkarian embassy in New York City with the intent to return it to her people when the time came, and used it as her base of operations in the meantime. At the time, Sable was bringing international mobsters in alive to the Interpol for questioning. Unfortunately for her, her prey was murdered by the time she arrived at the scene, bearing the insignia of the ninja clan known as the Hand as a result of Daredevil having assumed leadership and directing forces across Hell's Kitchen. Outraged at having her mission compromised, Silver personally investigated the murder, eventually bringing her into contact with Bionic Private Investigator Misty Knight, Dark Force-wielding Vigilante Shroud, and Mercenary Paladin, all of whom were investigating similar murders throughout the city. Silver's contacts in Simkarian intelligence and American espionage eventually deduced the murders were in fact committed by an angry policeman masquerading as a hand ninja, a conclusion Misty also came to when the officers in question arranged for her to be attacked in the street. Together, the four heroes put a stop to the crooked policeman's scheme and turned their attention towards the larger problem of Shadowland itself. Ends of the Earth. Sometime afterwards, the Flag Smasher tried to disrupt a Simkarian Pride parade in New York with a nuclear bomb, but was stopped by Silver Sable and Spider-Man. She kissed Peter as a reward for deactivating the bomb on behalf of Simkaria. When Dr. Octopus tried to destroy the world, Silver saved Spider-Man and Black Widow from the Sinister Six. Making their way to the final battle, Sable flirted with Spider-Man and almost admitted her feelings for him, but he refused to talk about it, telling her about Mary Jane Watson. Together with Spidey, Sable rushed to Octavius' underwater base only to be stopped by the Rhino. The unmovable villain gripped her to the floor, promising not to move while the water level rose. Sable ordered Spider-Man to leave her behind and pursue Doc Ock on his own. By activating her suit's stealth coating, Sable tricked Rhino into thinking she had vanished, giving her the advantage necessary to break free. However, she had been very seriously injured from her fight with Rhino. She was unable to escape the base as it was destroyed and was badly burned. She was subsequently rescued by the foreigner. Working in the shadows. From that point on, Sable used an android avatar given to her by the foreigner to hunt down her enemies one by one, taking advantage of the popular belief that she was dead to do so from the shadows. Unfortunately, the citizens of Symkaria were also affected by this deception, with their fear allowing the last living royal, Countess Kharkov, to rise to power. Kharkov allied herself with Norman Osborn and exploited the resources of Symkaria, turning the country into a weapons-making war machine for Osborn's goblin army, enslaving Symkaria's people in the process. With the help of a new wild pack, Sable began to work from the shadows opposing Osborn and Kharkov's plans. While trying to assassinate Osborn in a charity event in Hong Kong, Sable came face-to-face with Spider-Man. Silver Sable and Spider-Man formed an alliance once again, in order to take down both of their enemies. Attributes. Abilities. Indomitable will. Silver Sable has an indomitable will. She has been shown resisting the worldwide psychic manipulation of the goddess to retain her sensibilities. She has also easily defied a telepath's attempt to alter her mind by sheer force of will. Master martial artist, Silver Sable is an extraordinary hand-to-hand combatant and martial artist, an expert marksman and swordsman, and an accomplished gymnast. She is also an accomplished leader and strategist, capable of rapidly assessing the strengths and weaknesses of her foes. Her strength, speed, durability, and reflexes are exceptional for a human, and she managed to stalemate the Punisher by withstanding his blows and using her quicker reflexes. Multilingual, Silver Sable knows 7 languages. She speaks fluent English, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Somali and Symkarian. Weaknesses. Despite nearing the peak of human physical and mental ability, Silver Sable is still only human. She must constantly watch for knives and gunfire, and can be easily overwhelmed by a truly superhuman opponent. Paraphernalia. Equipment. Silver Sable's costumes often have a protective Kevlar lining. After being incapacitated and ends of the Earth, Silver began to use a life model decoy as avatar. Weapons. Silver Sable often carries chai-throwing daggers, a taser, custom-made guns and a sword. She has access to nearly any weapon she would need for a mission. Transportation. Jetpack. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.